it's your girl Zaya X, and I saw Across the Spider-Verse, and let me tell y'all, that's one of the best animated movies I've ever seen. The 4-year wait was so worth it. The story and the animation, Into the Spider-Verse already set the tone for amazing animation for me, but Across the Spider-Verse exceeded it. At this point, the only competition for the Spider-Verse animation team is themselves. I left that theater pissed as hell at the ending, but a changed woman nonetheless. However, there are a few things that I want to say about Spider-Man 2099, aka Miguel O'Hara, how he leads Spider Society, and the philosophy of the methods that he uses to achieve his goals in the movie. I'll be talking in depth about Across the Spider-Verse, so this is your spoiler warning. I highly suggest seeing the movie first before watching this video because I really don't want to ruin the experience for y'all. So y'all got 3 seconds to pause and click off this video. 3, 2, 1. Okay, but before I dive into Miguel, let me give my short review of this movie. The animation is out of this world as expected. What I loved is that the animation teams put so much care into conceptualizing and bringing each Spider-Man dimension shown in the movie to life and unique to them. They described Gwen's dimension as a mood ring, and they weren't kidding. The colors and textures were so amazing. One particular scene that made my jaw drop in awe was Gwen's conversation with her dad. And from what I remember, they used dark colors as the conversation started, and then the colors became much brighter and pastel-like as Gwen's dad began to understand her. Pavitr's world was so vibrant, and it's mainly full of warm colors, but you also get to see like a splash of cool colors in there as well. It reminds me of the backdrops from Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. Pav's suit is so cool, and I love that they deviated from his suit in the comics and made one that was more unique to him and his culture. And I heard that it took the animation team like 3 years to animate Hobie. That's amazing. You can tell his animation style was based on punk posters, and he looks like a paper cutout was plastered on the screen. Absolutely amazing. Just wow. Gwen had more of a spotlight in this movie, and that was great to see. We get to dive deeper into her and her story, how Peter's death affected her relationship with her father, and her need to find a place to belong to. I like how the end of Into the Spider-Verse and the beginning of Across the Spider-Verse have some overlap, you know? Now let me tell y'all, I was scared for Pavitr. I was, because in his teaser, he said being Spider-Man is so easy, and I was like, oh baby, you done sealed your fate. Pav's such a happy guy, and I did not want to see him suffer. So y'all can imagine my relief when Miles came in to the rescue and helped him out. I really hope we get to see more of Pav and Beyond the Spider-Verse. I went into this movie thinking Hobie's going to be my favorite character, and I left that movie theater thinking the exact same thing. Hobie is the real MVP of this entire movie. I know Daniel Kaluuya had fun in the booth. He made Hobie sound so fun. I have a feeling that Hobie's been planning to quit the Spider Society, or at least tear down the establishment from the inside, especially since he's been stealing parts from Miguel to make his own multiverse watch. But I think he saw the opportunity to set his plan into motion when he saw Miles refusing to obey Miguel's wishes. And let's get into Hobie's character design. His wigs are so cool. His wigs are so cool. I think that was the first time I see an animated character wearing wigs. Like, this is just, ooh, I love it. I love it.
I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. How dare you? Learn something from this.
This woman embarrassed me so much in that theater, y'all. I thought she was gonna warm up to Miles and treat him like a nephew by the end of the movie, but boy was I wrong. I understand her apprehension toward Miles at first, but the way she continued to let Miguel treat Miles like shit was crazy. And in hindsight, maybe she was just doing her job. Honestly, I'm not gonna fault her more than some others in this movie. I love Issa Rae though, and it's great that she has the role. Actually, run it back. Peter B and Gwen pissed me off because it took them way too long to put their foot down against Miguel. They took way too long. They knew Miles longer than they knew Miguel, but they didn't come to Miles' defense about his dad. They didn't even tell Miles about his dad either, or the spider that bit him wasn't even from his dimension. The only person that had Miles back in this movie was Hobie. And I'm not saying Hobie's a bad person, but it's sad that a person that you knew for 30 minutes can stand by your side while the friends that you've known for over a year stand back and watch bad things happen to you. Just sad. The spot is the definition of fuck around and find out. Cause Miles was kiki keen at the beginning of the movie in the bodega, but when the spot started activating colliders and planning to kill fathers, that's when shit got serious. The way he changed from his white form to his black form of nothingness gave me chills. Like, that man wasn't playing around at all. The cameos in this movie were amazing. There weren't too many to the point where it was overwhelming, but just right. I felt like that Leonardo DiCaprio gif every time I saw a spider person that I recognized on screen. My mouth felt open when I saw Spectacular Spider-Man on the screen. Like, that was one of my favorite shows growing up, and I hated that it got canceled on a cliffhanger. Sun Spider making her movie debut and having a speaking role is a big fuck you to anyone who was saying that she wasn't a real spider person when her comic run came out. I love that. Donald Glover being confirmed as a variant of Uncle Aaron was mind-blowing. People have been speculating that since Homecoming came out, and seeing how much impact Donald Glover had on the creation of Miles in the comics, it was cool for him to be included here. The way Oscar Isaac has his toe dipped in every Marvel movie neighborhood is crazy. Like, I know that man is getting money. Miguel O'Hara is a dark, stoic, broody leader of the Spider Elite Force, and he is fine as hell, but he pissed me off, which brings me to my next point. So back when the teaser for Across the Spider-Verse came out and we saw Miles getting chased by all those spider people, people on Twitter and TikTok were joking around saying that they probably mad at Miles because he got two parents. Well, boy, were they right. As Miguel explained the Spider-Verse to Miles and how each spider person has a canon event where they learn the responsibility aspect of their powers, you know, the whole with great power comes great responsibility mythos that we know, we see several projections of the Spider Peoples and their Uncle Bens and other people who served as their mentor figures. They showed Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, they showed Peter B. Spider-Man, hell, they even showed Miles and Uncle Aaron, which begs the question, why wasn't the death of Uncle Aaron Miles' main canon event? Because Uncle Aaron is Miles' Uncle Ben, right? Uncle Aaron was the tragic event that pushed Miles into learning how to control his powers and becoming his own Spider-Man. The Spider-Man that we all know and love, right? So why the hell does his dad have to die for the fate of the multiverse? Where does Miguel get that notion that since one dimension collapsed because he decided to live the life of his variant, that the same thing will happen if Miles saves his father? Being Spider-Man is a sacrifice. It's what you signed up for. You're putting this gigantic ultimatum on a 15-year-old boy? Be so for real. Also, Miguel saying that the multiverse collapsing is Miles' fault because of the collider is just unfair. Sure, the spider that bit Miles wasn't supposed to be in his dimension, and he happened to be at the wrong place in the wrong time, which contributed to the death of the Peter Parker of Earth 1610. But at the end of the day, Miles shut down the collider and attempted to fix his mistake. Miguel's little "you don't belong here, you're the original anomaly" speech, girl, is so unnecessary. Cause if Miguel cares about the fabric of the multiverse like he says he does, then why is he focusing all his anger on Miles and not on the villain that can create portals and travel to different dimensions whenever the hell he wants? Miguel's worried about the collider that Miles tried to shut down, but the Spot's out there activating colliders in other dimensions to become more powerful. There's a whole villain out there that threatens the establishment of everything that you've worked so hard to fix, but you're more worried about a boy who wants to go save his father? Okay. Miguel was for sure projecting his loss onto everything that's going wrong, because Pav's dimension collapsing was because of the Spot who activated the collider and absorbed its powers. That huge ass black hole is because of him. Miguel blaming that on Miles saving Inspector Singh makes absolutely no sense, and the fact that in an organization full of geniuses who design their own tech, nobody questioned Miguel's logic. This movie is challenging the notion that a fair amount of fans have that the validity of a Spider-Man is based on how much trauma they went through. Oh, so so-and-so's not that great of a spider person because not enough of their friends and family have died. They haven't experienced enough loss. My question is, do they have to? Just because there's a correlation between spider people and a police captain that they were close to dying at the hands of a nemesis doesn't mean that every single spider person has to go through the same thing. I'm guessing Miss Algorithm Lady, whose name I can't remember, I'm so sorry, is basing her Spider-Verse model off of statistics, and in statistics, there are outliers. There are factors that don't follow the status quo. The spot showing Miles his future and the possible death of his father is an outlier event, because Miles knows what could happen and how he could stop it. And saving the dad aside, Miguel was really going to keep Miles in Spider Society HQ while the Spot terrorizes New York and kills citizens. Is that what heroes do? Let a villain kill innocents while waiting for a particular event to happen? Everyone's trying to convince Miles that it's for his own good, or for the greater good, but is it really? What I think the overall message of this Spider-Verse trilogy will be is that there's no right way to be Spider-Man. There's no systematic way to be Spider-Man. Every spider person won't share the same story. Anybody can wear the mask, but it's what they do with the power that's important. To be honest, I listened to the soundtrack before I watched the movie, and I liked a few songs on it. However, as a collective, the song sounded a bit too similar to me. I'm not saying the soundtrack was bad. I think it's good. I think it's just, one thing I love about the Into the Spider-Verse soundtrack is that the songs had different vibes, and it made it more exciting to listen to. If I wanted to get hype and break stuff, I'd listen to Elevate and Start a Riot. If I wanted to be chill, I'd listen to Invincible, Home, and Familia. Across the Spider-Verse soundtrack only gives off one vibe to me, however I do like some songs. Am I Dreaming with A$AP Rocky and Royzy? That song is just wow. And I love that they chose it for the end credits because that song paired with the oil painting animation style that they used, creating an ambiance that calmed me down from the whirlwind of rage that I felt because of that cliffhanger. Mona Lisa by Dominic Fike.
You're not that bitch, nothing, but you still ate that little one thing, ate that one thing.
I still haven't forgiven him for letting me sit through that song of the Euphoria Season 2 finale, but I'll take Mona Lisa as a gift because it had me bouncing in my seat. Hummingbird by James Blake. That white man can sing, like oh my god. Silk and Cologne by 8 and Offset. That song had me dancing when I heard it the first time, and it had me dancing when I heard it in the movie. Link Up with Don Toliver, Wizkid, Beam, and Toyon was good too. Metro Boomin released a deluxe version of the soundtrack, and the new songs were a lot more my tempo. I Can't Stop by Big Boss Vet and Omale, a banger. Take It to the Top by Becky G and Arya Starr, fire. Infamous by Shanty and Mike Towers, that joint crank as fuck. As of right now, I still prefer the Into the Spider-Verse soundtrack, but who knows? Maybe my opinion will change later. The score for this movie was great, but what really blew my mind is Across the Spider-Verse Start a Band. The song starts out with like the theme for Miles of Earth, for Miles of Earth 42, who's the Prowler of that dimension. And the theme for Earth 42 Miles is just the Prowler's theme backwards. That's really fucking cool. And the climax of the Across the Spider-Verse Start a Band song is like a combination of the themes of Earth 1610 Miles, Gwen on the drums, and Hobie's guitar. Big props to Daniel Pemberton and his genius work, cause ooh, that's so cool. I can't wait for Beyond the Spider-Verse, but I don't want it to be rushed. Its current release date, as I'm recording this video, is March 29th, 2024. But if there's not enough time for the animation team and voice actors to do their thing, then I have no problem with waiting a little bit longer to see the finished product. We waited 4.5 years for Across the Spider-Verse, so if the third film needs to be delayed, then I would have no problem with that. So what did you guys think of Across the Spider-Verse? Do you agree with Miguel? Does trauma truly measure what a Spider-Man is supposed to be? Do y'all think Miles will be able to save his father and defeat the Spot? Who was your favorite character? Let me know in the comments. I hope y'all have an amazing day or night, and see y'all later.